Hello and welcome. My name's Ben Lowrey, and in this video guitar lesson I'm going to show you a simple but funky and cool sounding wah-wah rock type thing, and it's very straightforward, and I'm using a wah-wah pedal and an echo pedal, and I've got the distortion on my guitar amp, and I'm just going to show you a little riff that sounds like this. Okay, now it's only a few notes, it's only simple, it's only a basic simple blues type thing, but it's a lot of fun and you can have a lot of fun with it, and it's great for beginners, you know, and it just sounds cool, so I want to show you it. Now I'm going to turn the wah-wah pedal off, I'm going to turn the echo off so you can hear more clearly what I'm doing, but I'm going to leave the distortion on. Okay, so let's learn this riff. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is basically an E power chord, and I'm using my first finger to hold down the 5th string and the 4th string, both at fret 2. And you can look at the tab, the chord box next to me to see what I'm doing. And what I want you to do is to use your plectrum to pluck the 6th string open and the 5th and the 4th string that are held down at fret 2. Pluck all 3 strings like that, okay? Now once you've done that, I want you to pluck the 6th string open twice, like this. And I'm using my plectrum, I'm plucking down and then up on the 6th string. So we start with all 3 strings, the power chord, and then down up on the 6th string open, then put your middle finger onto the 6th string at fret 3, and you can see I'm using a little bit of vibrato just to wiggle the string a little bit, but don't worry, that's not a big deal, you can do that if you want to. And then what we're going to do is play the power chord again. But instead of strumming down, actually I'm going to ask you to strum upwards. So put your plectrum under the 4th string and pluck upwards on the 4th, 5th and 6th string. And that way there's more of an emphasis on the 4th and 5th string rather than the root note. Do you see what I mean? So if we join it together, we've got the power chord strum, and then down up on the 6th string, and then the 6th string at fret 3, and then up on the power chord to finish. So now I'm making it sound a little bit groovier because what I'm doing when I pluck the 6th string open, instead of going like this, I'm actually using the palm of my hand to gently touch the strings right next to the bridge of the guitar. I'm laying the palm of my hand on the strings a little bit, and it mutes the strings, and then when you pluck down and up, the 6th string open is muted a little bit because your palm is touching the strings. Now, don't do it too much. If you bring your palm all the way up the strings, then it's going to completely kill the notes. And if your palm is on the bridge but not touching the strings, then it won't mute them at all. But if you just find an in-between where it's just touching the strings a little bit, then you get that cool muted sound. So you'll hear when I did the 6th string open, it's got that groovy sound to it. But I don't do it on the 6th string at fret 3. I let that one ring, okay, with no mute. So, and again. Okay, there we go. It's actually quite quick at full speed. So just practice it over and over again. Now all that is, very simply, is the 3rd string at fret 14, and I'm using my 3rd finger to hold it down. Now I'm using my middle finger and my 1st finger to go all on that string to help push. Okay, so your 3rd finger is the one actually holding the note, but these other fingers are on the string right behind it. They're going to help. You're going to pluck it and bend like that. Now that's a tone bend, and what that means is it should sound like the note that is 2 frets higher, fret 16. So when you bend fret 14 a tone, It should sound like fret 16 with no bend. Okay. Okay, now one of the things with bends that beginners have a bit of trouble with is it ends up sounding like this. Now the reason for that is because they're accidentally letting the other strings, which are open, they're actually accidentally, those other open strings are making a noise. And that's where you hear that horrible beginner guitarist, that sort of sound. Now, but again, the palm of your hand is being used to mute the strings that aren't being used. So we don't want to obstruct the third string because that's the string that we're bending, but the sixth, fifth and fourth string, we can use the palm of our hand to mute those notes. So there's no danger of them making a noise. And then strings 1 and 2, they're being muted by the back of our first finger, okay? And what happens is the only string that is actually unobstructed is the one we want to hear. So the palm is muting the thicker strings, the back of these fingers are muting the other strings, and the only one we want to hear is the third string. Now all that muting and palm muting and touching the strings and all that, it takes a bit of practice. Don't worry about it. Relax, take your time, experiment. In fact, you know what? Turn the distortion off, because a lot of the time it makes things messier when you're trying to practice something. So a lot of the time it's actually easier without the distortion. But it doesn't sound as cool, so I'm going to put it back on. Okay, so once you've done your bend, then play the third string at fret 12 with your first finger. And it's the same with this. If you play the third string at fret 12, but if the other strings are making a noise, you're going to get that horrible situation. So again, the palm of our plectrum hand is touching the thicker strings to stop them, and the back of the first finger, or possibly the other fingers, are touching the first and second string to stop them from making a noise. And in the end, you just get used to it and you do it without thinking. But at first, that's a lot to think about. But don't worry, relax, just give it a go. See how it goes, just practice it, take your time, there's no rush. Okay, so if we join the bend and that note, just practice, okay? There's no magic bullet. I wish I could just go, kapow, you can do it, but the only way to do it is just to practice it. Okay, so. Okay, you get the idea. Now, what you can do, you can make up your own riffs, and this is where it gets cool. You can use the blues scale, which is just a simple blues scale, and let's say the 6th string at fret 12, the 6th string at fret 15 with your little finger, the 5th string at fret 12, and then at fret 14, the 4th string at fret 12, and then at fret 14, 3rd string at fret 12, and then at fret 14, and let's throw in a blue note, which is the little finger on the 2nd string at fret 15 as well, which is a groovy one. Oh god, there's that word again. I'm sorry about that. The 2nd string at fret 12, and the 2nd string at fret 15, little finger, 1st string at fret 12, 1st string at fret 15. Now what this is just a basic blues scale. Now you could say, oh Ben, it's not called the blues scale, it's called the minor pentatonic. Well, you know what? I don't really care. As long as it sounds good, we're playing it right. And backwards. Now what you can do is you can improvise using this scale. You can bend some of those notes, or you can slide them, or you can just play them normally, or you might want to hammer them, and you can experiment. the idea? Okay, so I want you to practice, I want you to improvise, make it up as you go along, experiment. That's the only way of doing it. Don't worry if you're playing it wrong or right. The thing is to experiment. Try bending, you know, the first string at fret 15. See what happens. Bend the second string at fret 15. See what happens. Play some of the notes together. Make up your own riffs. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. You can try some hammers and pull-offs. You can try slides. Some bends. You can combine it all together. Okay, we join it together. I actually think I prefer it with the wah-wah off, actually. So it's up to you. The point is enjoy it. It's blues. It's meant to be fun. Experiment. Make up your own riffs. Maybe you'll write your own song. Who knows? Enjoy it. Thank you for listening. My name's Ben Lowrey, and come and see us at vguitarlessons.com. Goodbye.